Greetings to everyone, to the judges, stakeholders, guests as well, here and online. My name is Lunga Feni, and I'm coming from East London, representing Team Cortex. Here with me is my colleague Ubahle Menziwa, and we've got another third member of the team, Usam Gelisiwe Makwabe, who could not make this trip with us. But our journey began last year when we entered the NEMISA Datathon, and what we initially were looking to find was a solution that will help digitalize our rural areas. Now, through the entire process of us coming up with these creative ideas, we couldn't find data supporting all these great ideas. So data that will be informing us on what is actually happening on the ground within rural areas. There is a crucial need for socio-economic development within rural areas and the improvement of living standards within rural communities. Where is this data informing government, policymakers, development corporations on what is really happening within rural communities? Our platform focuses on data collection. It focuses on providing a user-friendly platform. Also, it provides, it assists to validate in terms of insight on what is really happening within the rural communities. Our platform also provides evidence-based insight on digitalization of rural areas in South Africa, with the focus on being the availability of essential services such as network coverage, electricity coverage, schools, water access, and also the census of each rural community. Our platform's target audience includes policymakers, as I mentioned, researchers, development practitioners, technology innovators, and general public interested in improving the quality of life within rural communities. You ask yourself why we are doing this. The why in this is to improve the understanding and awareness of the digital divide in rural communities. Secondly, we want to provide evidence-based decision-making of policy formulation that addresses the gaps and challenges within these communities. Lastly, we're looking at enhancing collaboration and partnerships among stakeholders and expertise for rural development. So our key features for our platform, it's a user-friendly platform allowing a user to search and filter information by region to get relevant information to support whichever project that they're looking to execute. Our implementation follows 3 phases. The first phase will involve the development of the user interface and data collection and the processing system. The second phase is the testing and piloting of this application within rural communities so that we can get a sort of feedback from the communities as well. And our last phase is the deployment of the application with the targeted rural communities. The deployment costs will run over two years for us to be able to get proper validation of the rural communities, because we all know how far off the rural communities are. So we're looking at a development cost of around about 850,000. This is also just based on how far we're willing to push the project itself. And we're looking at a deployment cost of around 350,000 and an ongoing cost of 180,000. So just a breakdown as well, just to get for you guys to get a clearer understanding of what is going to be required. So there's a few factors that will determine in terms of the size. So the project scope will have to be relooked at. The team size as well, and also which technology stack we're going to be going and using. The design and user experience as well, how far we're willing to push it. Third-party tools and APIs, as you'll see through the demo, in terms of the APIs we decided to actually use. Project timeline and also maintenance. The costs involved as well, there's a development cost, design cost, project management costs, testing and quality assurance, deployment cost and hosting, and maintenance and support cost. So just before I conclude, I want to just take you through the platform itself. Just give me a sec quickly. There you go. Like it had me panicking there for a sec. Okay, so as you could see in terms of the landing page itself, as I had mentioned, in terms of what we are trying to provide data for, are these four key elements. So census insight is very key for any project that you're wanting to develop within any region that you're wanting to tackle. Network coverage, I think on the first presentation, that was something that was one of the main points that judges raised up, is the mere fact that most of our rural communities don't have network access. Electricity, major key point within South Africa. As much as urban areas, we complain about the issues of load shedding, there are vast communities within rural communities that don't even have access to electricity. Schools are a key factor as well within communities rurally, and you find that the government has not yet been able to have enough schools within these communities. Water access, it's one of the main also key services that we really need to look at as something that is essential, because right now the service is still not available to rural communities. Now, if you go on and on census, so let's do a quick search. So what we had used is that, as we all know, last year we had the census count. So we used data from 2011, which was already validated data on our census count. So if we take a look at maybe a municipality like Ilundi. Ilundi is a municipality within the Eastern Cape. And let's just quickly search. There we go. So as you can see, Ilundi has over 138,000 people within the municipality. And also Ilundi has, let's go into Ilundi so that we get a breakdown. So as you can see, there's a gender split and an area split as well, informing us in terms of the size of the municipality. The main places as well, these are mostly rural areas. So Bantini, Betuli, Black Fountain, Bongweni. There's a breakdown of the actual census within those rural communities as well. Age split as well, and the population. Also, we've got the languages. But what I want to mainly get your attention to focus on is, let's go on let's go on to network coverage. So now for network coverage, we've got the entire South African map showing us the exact coverage. So we've got 5G coverage in the areas, LTE, 3G, Edge, and GPRS. Now let's search for Elundi. Elundini. There you go. So as you can see with what's coming up for Elundini is they currently don't have 5G accessibility, they don't have LTE. So anytime you go there, you are gonna encounter some of these problems. Now the main issue is that within the other deeper rural communities within that, you'll find that they won't even have access to 3G. So whatever solutions, we're trying to get these policymakers to actually take a deep dive on what is really going on within, as I mentioned, the rural communities. Let's take a look at electricity coverage. Now, looking at the electricity coverage, you can now notice that red means danger. So that's, if you look, if I can quickly explain the colors. So from the green, it means that at least 90 to 97% of households have electrical connectivity. And for red, it means that at least a probability of 50 to 60% of those rural households have connectivity, have electrical connectivity. Now, where is Elundini? Elundini is here, as you could see, and it's orange, meaning that 56 to 70% of those households have actually access to electricity, which is dire because right now we're in 2023, and we would have that assumption that at least those numbers would be much higher. So let's look at the schools. So our platform also, as you could see, with the assistance of Giga, you could actually tell these dots that you see are all schools around South Africa. And if you click on any school, there's Mbenge Junior Secondary School, tells you actually the connectivity within the school. Is there access to 3G, access to 4G, and how far in terms of us being able to provide such a service of being able to give connectivity to, because right now where we're leading to, we need schools to be connected so that we can be able to get them to a situation whereby we equip them for the new coming era. The last one we're going to look at is water access. So as you can see, Elundini again, very orange. And let's see, where is Elundini? There it is on top. So as you can see, in terms of accessibility to water, over 35,804 households have access to water within the area. So what we are now looking at in terms of developing the next step of the development of the mapping API is that we're going to develop the platform to be centralized and centralize it in one map. So when you land on our page, the map is going to come up and you could just click on whichever area and all that information will pop up automatically. Let me hand over to my colleague, Ubani.
Okay, just to add on to what Lunga said, currently we are in talks with the BCM municipality, which is in the Eastern Cape. We are working with 2 villages, which is Cholomna and King Williamstown. So what we've managed there, we've managed to talk with village leaders to collect data using questionnaires and surveys so that they can be our first success on this project that we are trying to pursue.
So just to close off, I think what we are wanting to actually implement across is something that also, it's not going to be a policing tool per se, because we really know that in terms of with the current state of things within the country, lots of corruption, but there is an issue whereby you can actually look at a village and you would see that some sort of support or funding was given to the village to actually get some of these key services done, but nothing has actually been implemented. So by us having such a platform, it will be a way for us to actually balance the books and see where actually have things disappeared, where are we leaking, where's the water leaking. So that's one of the things. But in closing, I just want to also thank the team from Coda, who actually took us from where we started as the team Cortex, in terms of helping us develop the platform on AWS. And as well, we want to thank the NEMISA team. I know we came in last minute to basically be part of the competition, but we thank you guys for the opportunity as well. And a big thank you to Palesa for opening her doors from AmLab to take the Eastern Cape under her wing. And yeah, to close off, welcome to eVillage Mapping.
Thank you very much. You are right on time. You have 1 second left. Now it's 0-0. Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. Let's go to the judges.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
I wanted to find out what's the difference between your app and WaziMap? What investigation was carried out to see if government does not already have the same analytics platform that you have shown? Because on WaziMap, Ulundini has about 9,458 individuals. That's the total population. And it has a breakdown of water access, electricity access. And here, this is a speed test, the app that you download on your phone to check network coverage across multiple service providers. Because I see on the presentation, it is an iframe of the Vodacom coverage checker.
Yeah.
So where is the data that was used to define it? Because I cannot define a product from what I have seen. So I need to see what your investigation has led to you creating a product. That's the first question. The second one, what's your tech stack? I haven't seen any detailed information into the technology that is being used. It's a village mapper. How long does it take to load in a village with minimal connection? And number three, I saw the cost in terms of developing this app. Something like this should be open source, so we can also help out. That's a recommendation, by the way. Also help out in terms of implementing it. And the last one was look into openup.org.za, look into vulegamali.gov.za. They're doing the same project. Maybe look into improving what the government has already done, because we have some of the most advanced data collection systems on earth in terms of our sensors, by Stats SA.
Okay, the first question, in terms of what we generally wanted to achieve, I think we looked at the struggles. I think with our background coming from rural villages, is the mere fact that it didn't seem like there is enough being done, first of all. So in terms of why we are doing this, was that we're wanting to actually create awareness on what the plight of rural villages are going through. So with incorporating these services is mainly to highlight that there's, as much as we can try and come up with creative and innovative solutions, because right now the big talk is agri-tech. So what's going to inform entrepreneurs creating agri-tech solutions on what, if their implementation or strategy is going to work on a certain village? This is a platform that we're wanting to be the go-to platform. Also, I think the request of actually making it open source, I think that's where we were wanting to lead to as well, because we really cannot be able to do this alone. And we're looking at getting partnerships, as many as we can, on board. And that's why locally we're really looking at just getting this platform piloted within our own municipality, which Ubahle had mentioned as well.
All right, well done, great presentation. I think I just want to echo what my colleague mentioned about the data. And
Yes.
My concern was that, seeing 2011 census data, and obviously that's 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
So maybe just consider finding a way to have data that is more dynamic, so that it's up to date. And then I'd also just like you to quickly brief us on what policy objective you were addressing.
Okay, so I think the policy objective was merely the rural digitalization, which is what we followed. As I mentioned, firstly, I think when we started was that we really struggled to just merely find one solution that will help digitalize rural areas because of the lack of information out there informing us on if the solutions that we're coming up with were actually going to work. So it's merely to actually as well, I think our solutions will speak more to the entrepreneurs as well as and innovators looking at developing solutions for rural areas. So it will give them support in terms of validating their data or their projects to better, and we'll help them to better understand what they're going to be actually going to.
All right, I think Tumelo has covered some of the things, especially around the Swazi map, but I also wanted to raise the point of the Human Sciences Research Council. But my question around there is, what is so different that you guys, basically what is your unique selling point with regards to the WASIMAP platform, and how the Human Sciences Research Council go about applying mechanisms? Because even during COVID-19, they had offline mechanisms to be able to collect data in communities as such.
So in essence, I think where we're coming from is that our project is more inclusive and more collaborative. So instead of just making a platform, as Ubasha had mentioned, in terms of the surveys that we want to do online surveys, and also we want people, we're going to be sending out people to go to these areas to validate the data. So that is one thing that also I think we really look, we're not just dependent on just collecting data that's available already, but also going through validation as well.
All right, I just quick one, please, maybe in 20 seconds or, just fast. Take us through what insights have you extracted from the data that you found, but just paint a picture for us in terms of the data insights.
So what we generally have found is that as much as we think that we are at a developed state as a country, there is a huge gap within the digital divide within rural areas. It's a huge gap, and we really need to find a way to actually close it.
All right. Okay. So I think that the story of Eastern Cape was cleared because it was indicated as Limpopo on our list. But I'm not sure if Tumelo was fully answered around the tech stacks. But can you maybe enlighten us in terms of your team? What are the capabilities of your team?
Yes. Okay. So on our team, I'm more of the business developer in the team, and also the team leader, and Ubashe is more the researcher, and Usam is the developer. So along that question, I was like really crossing my fingers that they weren't too technical of questions that might be thrown our way because we didn't have a developer with us. But I think the presentation and also our demo really did explain itself.
All right. You did indicate that your solution will be helpful to policymakers, but I just want to understand the data economy. How are you economizing this? Have you thought of the costs? How do they look like?
In economizing it, look, for us, we really want this project to just be a community project to help improve. So we're not putting money first, but in terms of helping, we're looking at collaborative efforts. So in terms of getting funding, we're looking at partners to come in and fund it based on giving it support, not for us to actually monetize it, for sense.
You're in the room with academics here. People are always writing papers, looking for grant funding as such. So you do need the money. So the data economics need to be strong as well.
Yes.
I just got one question.
Okay.
So I saw in your presentation you touched on health, and have you guys looked at pandemics on how like people in the health industry can actually utilize your data, to tackle pandemics? There are a few platforms that do that. However, the issue that we have most often is tracking that data in real time because it changes very quickly, especially like just say in the times of COVID, trying to figure out, where assistance is needed the most, especially in rural areas where there's usually underreporting because of, particular beliefs, like other people believe, this might not be this, or if I go to the hospital, I'm going to die and stuff like that. And then some of the people, don't report. And sometimes there's a flaw in relation to, data capturing by data capturers because of multiple factors. Could be, the data capturers are not well trained at that point in time because there's not enough time, or, data capturers are just lazy and they don't want to, and then they cook up, the data.
Thank you very much. Please don't answer that. You'll add it for next year. Thank you very much. You still have another chance for next year. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you, Doc. Give them a round of applause.